wear this all the time. If you watch my videos, you'll notice that I basically alternate between this shirt, this one, and sometimes this one. Yes, all my shirts are bodysuits. I may or may not have an obsession. So I basically became a minimalist by accident because when I moved to Miami a few months ago, I had most of my things in storage. And because I didn't want to be going back to get more clothes, I just kept wearing the same stuff. And I actually kind of loved it. And I'll show you why in a second. But first, let me show you why this matters to you. And to me. And to all of us. We're making more clothes than ever. We're also throwing away more clothes than ever. And by away, I mean sending it to landfills. I was just at a landfill for a different story, but I couldn't help but notice clothes in the pile of garbage. That's a huge problem because there's a lot of plastic in our clothing. I was just looking at my labels and I immediately found polyester and nylon. And those two, along with acrylic, are forms of plastic that now make up most of our clothes. That means that the clothes in the landfill will take at least hundreds of years to break down. Here's another problem. When we wash these fabrics, they release hundreds of thousands of microplastics. And a lot of times those end up in the ocean and animals eat them. And eventually we do too. Not to mention all the resources that go into making our clothes in the first place. In 2015, the fashion industry released more greenhouse gases than all international flights and shipping combined. And get this, it takes about 700 gallons of water to make enough cotton to make a shirt like this one. All of this made me want to be more conscious about my clothing. My theory is that if I downsize to just the items that I really like, I'll actually know what I own and I'll be less likely to shop on impulse. But even before I knew about all this, having fewer things was just making me happier. I used to spend so much time in the morning staring at my closet trying to figure out what to wear. So this has definitely simplified my life, but I still have a problem. All my stuff is now sitting in suitcases. So I think it's time to be intentional about living with less. What's crazy is that before I moved, I got rid of about 50% of my clothes. And I still have so much stuff. That was a lot of work, but I'm done, kinda. Most of what I'm keeping fit in these two drawers. Let me show you. Drawer number 1 and drawer number 2. Now the top drawer is my roommate, so that one doesn't count. And so is everything from here back there. These are mine. I think that's not so bad for an aspiring minimalist. Now let me show you everything I am not keeping. I'm getting rid of all of that. Now we had to find a way to do it ethically and environmentally friendly. I needed some help, so I went to visit Carrie C. She's the founder of Zero Waste Miami, and she does quite a bit to reduce her clothes waste.
Reduce, reuse, recycle. It's important to do it in that order, right? Because first you just don't buy as much because we usually don't need as much as we have.
Okay, so her first tip, don't buy as much.
I also fix things when they wear out. Holes in the knees of pants, holes in socks, I fix them.
Tip number 2, reuse. So fix my clothes so I can wear it longer.
I can cut up a worn out shirt of my husband's and make a dress for my daughter out of it. I make doll clothes for my daughter or for other kids out of little scraps of fabric.
Make dresses and doll clothes? Yeah, I don't think I could do that one.
You can cut up an old t-shirt and use it for cleaning rags.
Gotcha. Now that one I did. And it actually worked out very well. Look at how shiny my table is. And tip number 3?
Do a clothing swap with friends, and in that way you can kind of recycle clothing without contributing to that problem of massive amounts of textiles being shipped out to other countries.
Now, I don't know if you caught that last part, but Carrie said massive amounts of textiles being shipped out to other countries. Let me show you what that looks like. Thousands of bundles of our used clothes arrive in Kenya every day. Some of those clothes you thought you were donating are being sold, and African countries are getting so much of it that it's harming them. Their local textile industry can't compete with the cheap prices of the stuff we send them. So hundreds of thousands of jobs have been lost. And what they can't sell in these markets ends up as waste in their landfills. So this made me think that I didn't want to keep being part of the problem of sending our junk to countries that are already struggling. That's what was on my mind when this happened. I get into work today feeling very proud of myself for wearing my minimalist clothing. All of a sudden I look at my shirt and I'm like, there's no way. That is a hole. My shirt has a hole in it. In the past, I would have just thrown that shirt out. But instead I did a quick search, how to sew, and I got to work. I have red, but this is not really red. I don't have any burgundy, so dark brown it is. It looks like I'm done, but it doesn't quite blend in. Well, it doesn't look great up close, but maybe it's not that bad from afar. And more importantly, I think it'll hold me over until I can go out and buy something that's more sustainable. And that's one of the problems with fast fashion. It's cheap, so we buy a lot of it, but it's not meant to last, so we throw it out quickly. But some designers are trying to make fashion more sustainable.
Nomatribe is a conscious brand that is trying to make better products and produce less waste.
We really invest a lot of our time trying to make sure that we make pieces that will last a long time. That means that the consumer will be able to wear it longer and think about their pieces more as something they own as opposed to something they consume.
Our latest collection is made in Guatemala. It's all the leftovers, the little pieces from a denim factory. They collect all those little pieces and shred that material, and from that fiber they produce new threads and new fabrics.
They also take in old clothes, so I took them my stuff that was no longer wearable, and then the stuff that was still in good shape, I took it to a swap, like Harry suggested. So this is my bag.
Awesome. So now, after we go through, you can pick up to 5 different items here, so you're reducing your waste.
I was able to find a couple of things I liked, and it felt good to know that I was giving these items a second life instead of buying something brand new.
That's cute.
It was also exciting when someone picked something I brought. That way I got to meet the people my stuff was going to. So here's what I learned. To look at labels. I never used to, but now I know why it matters. So you're looking for natural fabrics like linen, lyocell, which is made from wood pulp, modal, which is made from cellulose, hemp, and either organic or recycled cotton. Because remember, the original stuff uses a lot of water, as well as pesticides and fertilizers. But the most important lesson I took away is to learn to live with less. If I don't buy all these things to begin with, then I don't have to be running around trying to figure out what to do with it when I don't want it anymore. And who knows, maybe one day I can officially call myself a minimalist. So there you have it. That was my week, and hopefully what becomes a habit of trying to live with less clothes waste. As always, we have a bigger story with more context that goes along with this one. We're not trying to suggest that it is completely on individuals like you and I to fix this problem. So we took questions to the government and to companies about what they could be doing. Check it out, tell us what you think.